Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Chew, where we ask the question, are we choosing the way of Jesus, or are we choosing our own way? My name is Robert Wallace, and I want to invite you to continue with me this week as we look at God's perfect fit. We're going to look at our first theological affirmation today, the way of Jesus uses normal. When we look at our passage from Exodus 36, verses 9 through 13, we see that God is very detailed in his instructions. And we know that details are important, and we know that there are people in life who are skilled. Carpenters, plumbers, electricians, lawyers, nurses, doctors, administrative people, all skilled to do what they are called to do by God. We have something that when we grow up, we start thinking about what it is that we'd like to do. And I believe that God is the author of that. And we find that thing that we can excel at, and we develop skills regardless of what it is. Being a chef is a skill. Being a cook is a skill. You have to learn how to do that. My point is that God gives each of us something in our lives with which we are good at, and we can develop and hone into a skill. If we look back at verse 1 of 36, we read this, quote, "And every skilled person to whom the Lord has given skill and ability to know how to carry out all the work of constructing the sanctuary are to do the work just as the Lord commanded." I believe that that's very key. Just as the Lord commanded. When Jesus called the disciples, these men were normal men, fishers, a tax collector. These men were not highly educated or wealthy. God and Jesus used normal people. That's not to say that God doesn't use the wealthy for his purposes. He does. But God and Jesus are looking for people who will follow instructions. God used Noah to build the ark. We know that Noah was righteous. I believe God knew that Noah would follow his exact details for constructing the ark. How about Joseph? We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. The 11th son of 12. No special skill. He was sold into slavery as a teenager. And yet he became the second most powerful person in all of Egypt under Pharaoh alone. How about King David? King David was the runt of the litter. He wasn't good looking. He wasn't muscular. He was the least of these, you might say. And yet he went on to become king of Israel. How about John the Baptist? John the Baptist had one skill. He was willing to follow God, and he was willing to proclaim the good news of the coming Messiah. How about Stephen, one of the disciples who was picked to become a deacon and serve tables, to wait on people, to meet people's needs? He was stoned to death for his faith. Saul, who later became Paul, was there and witnessed that stoning. And I have to believe that part of what he witnessed there found a root somewhere in Saul's heart, so that when he met Jesus on the Damascus road, he was ready to hear the truth and to be set free by Jesus. And he went on to become an evangelist to both the Jews and the Gentiles, though his primary mission was to share the good news of Jesus Christ with the Gentiles. How about Lydia? She was a merchant of fine purple cloth. She heard Paul's message of the good news. She decided to follow Jesus, and she opened her home to Paul and Silas, and we have every reason to believe that this became normal for her. She made herself available. If you go back to Exodus 35, one thing that you'll notice here, and I realize I've made a loop, is that the material needed to construct the tabernacle was actually brought as gifts from the children of Israel, from their homes. Common people providing the material that would be used by the skilled workers to build the tabernacle. The way of Jesus, my friends, is to use normal people, places, and things. Jesus invites us to join him as we are with what we have and to be a part of his way. It begs the question, are we choosing the way of Jesus, which leads to life? or are we choosing our own way? I pray that as you consider these things I've shared here today, that you'll invite the Holy Spirit to give you eyes to see and ears to hear God's truth from His Word, that you'll have a receptive heart and mind to receive these truths, and then follow what the Holy Spirit leads you to do with the same boldness, commitment, and conviction of Jesus. Have courage, the courage of Jesus, to follow, to step out in faith, and follow the instructions you're given. I pray you'll have a wonderful day, my friends. Go in the peace of God. Blessings to you. Bye for now.